Instagram suggested an account I'd never seen before. I almost ignored it. Then I saw Ryan was following it. I clicked on her profile without even thinking. At first, nothing looked suspicious. The account was private. No profile picture, no posts, just a username and a quote in her bio. But then I noticed something. Ryan was one of only 12 people following her. 12. Out of the millions of accounts on Instagram, he just happened to be one of 12. My heart immediately started racing. So I did something I had never done before. I sent her a follow request. Then I waited for hours. Nothing. The next morning, I checked again. Still nothing. And honestly, I started convincing myself I was being ridiculous. Maybe she was a cousin. Maybe an old friend. Maybe I was creating problems that didn't exist. Then that evening, my phone buzzed. She had accepted my request. I opened her profile immediately, and that's when everything changed. The account only had 6 photos, but Ryan was in 4 of them. Not tagged, not mentioned, just there, in the background, standing beside her, smiling. The dates made my stomach turn, because one of those photos had been posted 3 months earlier. On the exact weekend Ryan told me he was away on a work trip. I kept scrolling, photo after photo, more places, more dates, more evidence. And then I found the caption that made everything impossible to ignore. Some things are better when they're secret. I stared at the screen in complete silence, because deep down, I already knew the truth. I just wasn't ready to admit it yet. I clicked on her profile immediately. Honestly, I expected to find nothing. The account was private. No profile picture, no posts, just a quote in the bio and a few followers. For a minute, I felt stupid. Like maybe I had built this whole thing up in my head for no reason. Then I checked the followers list again. Ryan was one of 12 people following her. 12. That was the number that got me. Because out of everyone on Instagram, he somehow ended up being one of 12. Yeah, right. The next day, I sent her a follow request. I didn't really have a plan. I just wanted answers. A few hours later, she accepted it. The second her profile opened, my stomach dropped. There weren't many photos. 6, maybe 7, but Ryan was in them, not tagged, not mentioned, just there, like he wasn't supposed to be noticed. I kept scrolling. One photo was taken at a restaurant, another was at a beach. Then I stopped on the third one because I recognized the date immediately. Ryan had told me he was on a work trip that weekend. I remember it because we argued about it. He said he was too busy to call, too busy to text, too busy for me, but apparently not too busy for her. I sat there staring at my phone, trying to come up with a reasonable explanation. Something, anything. Then I reached the last photo, and that's when I saw the caption, "Best weekend ever." The date? The same weekend Ryan told me he was working. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I kept seeing those photos. The restaurant, the beach, that stupid caption. And the worst part? Ryan had no idea I knew. The next morning, he texted me like everything was normal. "Good morning." I stared at the message and actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it felt insane. I knew something he didn't know I knew, and suddenly, every conversation felt different. A few days later, Ryan came over. We ordered food, watched a movie, did all the normal things couples do. But I couldn't stop looking at him. I kept thinking the same thing. How long had this been going on? And how many times had he lied to my face? Then something happened that made everything worse. Ryan left his phone on the couch. A notification popped up. Instagram from the same account. I froze. The message preview only showed a few words, but it was enough. Miss you already. I felt sick because up until that moment, part of me was still hoping I was wrong. Part of me still wanted some explanation. But there it was, right in front of me. No excuses, no misunderstandings, no work trips, just the truth. That night, I stopped asking myself if Ryan was cheating. Instead, I started asking myself what I was going to do next. I didn't confront Ryan right away. Honestly, I wanted to, 100 times. But every time I picked up my phone, I stopped because I already knew what he was going to say. He'd deny it, make excuses, tell me I was overthinking. And somehow, I'd end up comforting him. So instead, I stayed quiet for almost 2 weeks. Long enough to make a plan, long enough to figure out what came next. Then one Friday night, Ryan texted me, "Want to grab dinner tomorrow?" I looked at the message for a second, then I replied, "Sure." The next evening, I showed up to the restaurant early, not because I was nervous, because I wanted to leave something behind before he got there. A printed screenshot, the Instagram account, the photos, the messages, everything. I left it on the table and walked out. No speech, no argument, no dramatic goodbye, just the truth. A few minutes later, my phone started exploding. Calls, texts, voicemails, one after another. But for the first time in a long time, I didn't answer. And honestly, that was the easiest decision I'd made in months. The last message Ryan sent that night said, "Please just let me explain." I never replied because the explanation wasn't the part I needed. I already had the truth. And once you have the truth, there's really nothing left to talk about.